Hi, and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about a book that I had as a kid and that my mom read to me. And it is a book that I hold in my heart and I love, and I use it quite frequently when I work with youth. This book has been told many different times and has had many different illustrations because it's an original Aesop fable. And so it has been adapted many different times, and it doesn't matter that little minor details are changed because the core of the message stays the same. So today's book is called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And this one is a ABC Mouse production, so it doesn't have the author and illustrator on the front of the book because it's produced by ABC Mouse. So in this version of the book, there's a little shepherd boy, and he is out watching the sheep. And his job as a shepherd boy is to keep the sheep safe. And so he is watching the sheep, but he gets bored because there's not a lot to do out there in the pasture. And so he figures he'll pull a trick on the townspeople by screaming out, "Wolf, wolf, wolf." And so, as he knows is the protocol, when the townspeople hear wolf, they're going to drop everything and come running to try to rescue him as well as the sheep from a wolf, because the wolf is guaranteed to eat a sheep or many, and it may even attack him. And so he yells that out. They all come running, and when they get there, they find him laughing at them and their response. So he is kind of scorned for that. He is reprimanded for that a little bit. They told him they were upset, but then they go off. And a little while later, the next day, a couple of days later, he gets bored again and he tries it again. And so the townsfolk come running, they drop everything, come running, and they're trying to rescue him. And when they get there, again expecting to see a wolf, they don't see a wolf at all. They see the little boy there laughing on the ground at them, at their response. And so they're really upset with him, and they are like done, okay? And so more days go by, and there's a wolf. And the wolf comes to try to steal the sheep away. And the little boy cries out, "Wolf, wolf," but now the townspeople don't come. They don't respond. They don't drop everything and come to the rescue because they assume he's playing a trick again. And so the wolf runs off with the sheep, and he has to deal with the fact that he lost those sheep because he played a trick. And so this book has the moral of the story at the end, but it also has a message of what the little boy learned as well in the middle of the story. So I love that part because it's telling you from the boy's perspective what he learned, but then also you get to have it wrapped up at the end, the moral of the story and why the story was told in the first place. So this is a really good book to use when you are addressing kids who have a problem with telling stories, fibs, or outright lies. Okay, so this is a great book to discuss with kids about the concept of lying and how lying hurts you in the long run, because here in the storyline, you see how people responded to the little boy. And you can ask the kid as you're going through the story, what do you think the little boy is feeling? What do you think the townspeople are feeling? And you can point to the individual townspeople and kind of get their read on the situation. When you see the part where the townspeople are running to his rescue, what are they feeling in that moment? And then when they are there and they see the little boy laughing at them, what are they feeling then? And so you can get them to understand and kind of empathize with the townsfolk so that they are able to see why in the end, when the townsfolk do not come to the rescue, why they choose not to. And so having that conversation with the kid, making them see how the little boy didn't mean any harm. He was just having a good time. He thought it would be funny, how it ended up costing him a lot in the end. And so in this book, it is a little tempered down, and the little boy lives, and they eventually like find the wolf and get the sheep back. In the original Aesop fable, it is very harsh, and I grew up with a version where the little boy gets eaten. So it's a little harsher. So you might want to see which version you run into and what you feel is good for your kid. But the original story is told where the little boy is eaten. Not only is the sheep eaten by the wolf, but he is as well. And that's a bit harsh for kids, but there is a harsh reality to lying. And so it is a way to teach kids that there is a cost to lying, and that you not only lose your credibility, but it can actually put you at risk. So even having a conversation about, hey, you know, with kids talking about, hey, you know how you call mom, and you do like that scary mom, and I come running, and you really just only wanted me to get you a snack or something that wasn't emergency based. That is a great conversation to use this book for, to say, hey, you know how when you call me and I tell you, don't use the emergency voice for non-emergencies, because it can put you at risk. Because if I'm so used to you screaming out, mom, mom, in the screaming and emergency voice, then when you have an actual emergency, I'm not gonna come running, because I think that you're just calling me for something as simple as a snack, which can wait. And so helping kids navigate through that, helping them understand what is an emergency and what is not. These are great conversations to have with a kid, to let them know that you don't mind being bothered. Because sometimes kids, because you're responding and you're kind of frustrated with the fact that they screamed and made you come running and all they wanted was a snack, and now you're like, that doesn't warrant my attention right now. You could have waited. I was in the middle of something or whatever. And you have your response, because you're human too. Parents are human, and they're going to have emotions in their response as well. Now, the goal is that we're more mature and that we can manage ours better to help navigate our children through managing theirs. But the reality is that we're human too, and sometimes we don't have our best moments. And so when we have that response, kids can internalize that, and they may think that they should never interrupt you, and that they should never be a bother, and they never want to upset you. And so it's really good to have conversations with your kid about what is an emergency, what is something that you can always interrupt me for, what are some scenarios, right? Like if you're in danger, what does danger mean? So we are talking through what danger means when your sibling is in danger, or when you feel threatened, when you even feel scared. But let's talk about, sometimes we feel scared and we're still safe, and then sometimes we feel scared and we know we're unsafe. And so talking through those things and kind of giving your kids new language and even ideas about how to handle those things really helps them. This is a great book to start that conversation out with. Another thing is to talk about how lying makes people not believe you. So even just telling tales, or just saying things because you want attention, or you want to fit in, or you want to be able to have something to talk about, you want to make sure that you're telling your kids how to navigate conversations, because talking can be difficult. Even adults have problems with that. So we are trying to help kids navigate through that. For example, if a child is jumping in and trying to be part of the conversation, and they feel like they have to make something up just to be part of the conversation, helping them navigate through that. So you might say, hey, you've never been on a roller coaster, so why did you tell everyone like, oh yeah, I really like roller coasters, and I thought this and that, and they make up this grand story. And you might not bust them out in front of everyone, but later on you want to talk to them and say, hey, you've never been on one. Why did you say that? That's not true. And so you can talk to them about that. And when they say, oh, I just wanted to be in the conversation, or if they're like, because I think I will like it, then help them correct the language. Don't beat them up about it. Don't call them a liar. Don't say that they are a liar, but just help them with the language. So you might say, okay, well, next time when you want to join the conversation, you don't have to say that you did do something that you didn't do. You can say, I think it would be exciting to get on one because I saw it somewhere, or I saw it in a book, or watched it on TV, or I like going up and down, and I like going round and round, so I could just imagine that it's going to be awesome. So you help them be able to navigate a conversation with truth. instead of trying to lie to fit in. And then you can use this book as a frame of reference. Like, you don't want people to think that you don't tell truth, so they'll never believe you. So when you have something that you do need to say that's important and you want to bring your voice to the conversation, they're so used to hearing you tell untruths that are not real that they're not going to listen to you. Just like in the book, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. So you're helping to bring that information into your conversation, into their concepts and their schema, their ideas about life, and they're able to utilize that information to move forward and have healthy conversations. Another thing about this book that I really, really like is that it's telling you the moral of the story, but with the lesson that it has there, it says, liars are not believed even when they tell the truth. That is the moral of the story of this book. Liars are not believed even when they tell the truth. And so this is a deeper truth, even for adults, okay? Liars, to even take that term, that means that that person now has the identity of someone who lies. If you entitle someone or give them the title of liar, that means that they do this frequently, not just one time they told a lie, or, you know, it just happenstance. But once you are deemed a liar, then people do not believe you, even when you tell the truth. So even when it is a real emergency, even when you really have done something, even when you really do need help, no one believes you because they're so used to you not telling the truth. And so really talking to kids about character, how people will judge them based on their character, and their character is built through different things that they do every day. And so if they want to be believed and they want to be seen as someone who is honest and trustworthy, then they have to be willing to tell the truth, and they have to be willing to choose not to lie. And so this is a great book for that. If you have trouble with your kids telling fibs or lies or constantly making up stories, not just for story time, then this is a great book and a great tool to use to help to have these conversations without beating them down, because you get to talk about the shepherd boy instead of talking about them. If you read this book or have read this book, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear if this is something that you've used with your children, if you read it as a kid, if you remember it, and what version did you have? How did it end for you guys? Because I had a very vicious version, so I'm just wondering if I was the only one that was traumatized by that. But if you have read this or you have read it to your kid, please let me know. I'm interested and I want to know how you enjoyed the book. I hope this helps. Happy reading.